Good morning, my friends, and welcome to this very special time. I am Dr. J. Scott Neale of the Tri-City Religious Science Center in Fremont, Union City, in Newark, in California. I want to welcome you today, what is this, 68? And also welcome you to this Sunday morning and our celebration of Memorial Day and how much we, in our hearts, appreciate those who have given their lives for our freedom. I was hearing the other day that there's hardly anyone anywhere in this country that does not have in their heart a memory of a loved one who has given their life. We've seen that through the wars. I had an uncle who was aboard the USS New Orleans in Guadalcanal and lost his life there. I think I was about 4 years old when that happened. Buddy Shoulders, my wonderful uncle that I really don't remember, but as a result of Buddy Shoulders losing his life, I, being the oldest grandson, became Bud. And as a kid, I was always known as Bud Neale. And that was in honor of my Uncle Buddy. Lost 5 very, very dear friends in Vietnam. And of course, the recent conflicts that we've had where there's been life lost. And then, of course, this year in the month of April, we lost more here in the United States than we lost in Vietnam. We honor them, we love them, we celebrate them, we release them to greater good. And we celebrate all of them today. We celebrate the doctors, the nurses, the people in your grocery store, all of the dear people that are up front and trying their best to make this experience we're moving through with the virus as easy as possible. We love them all and bless them. And we discover that in a situation like this, what we're dealing with doesn't know anything about religion. It doesn't know anything about what church you attend. It doesn't matter what song you sing, what symbol you wear around your neck. I studied with, was friends with Pir Valiat Yananat Khan, who in the middle of a class I was taking with him on comparative religion, comparative meditation, I asked him at a break, I said, what's the difference in Eastern students and Western students? Pir Valiat looked at me and said, unfortunately, here in the West, you tend to make the teacher more important than the teaching, the symbol more important than what it symbolizes, and the book more important than what it contains. Anyhow. And he also taught me very clearly, as other really clear teachers have taught me, is beware of what you're studying, because if it's not leading you to you, it's suspect. Truth is not truth unless it leads you to you. And when you find the truth of great teaching, and the beautiful thing is, it's within every religion. As Dr. Ernest Holmes said, no one has a copyright on truth. So we find ourselves, especially in a time like this, I don't know if we've ever had a time like this. What was it, 1918 or something? But what we need to do is make sure our energy level is operating at the level of freedom. To begin to think from conclusion. You see, my friends, what the great, the good, the wise have shared. And as Dr. Holmes said in his last book, The Voice Celestial, it's not enough that the great, the good, the wise knew what they knew. What I need to know is what I myself can know. I believe they believed it. But what I've discovered in over 50 years of study of metaphysics, religious science, unity, divine science, is that the power I'm looking for is within me, not somewhere else. And there's nothing outside of me that has a plan for me. I have my congregation affirm quite often, God does not know what's going to happen to me until I make up my mind. So we realize that the mind of God is eternally enthusiastic. It's internally enthusiastic in the perpetual creation of new and better forms of life, new and better forms of love, new and better forms of beauty. And it does it by means of you. It does it in my life by means of me. And right now it's doing it by means of us in this virus challenge. It is a rejoicing spirit. It is an eternal joy and gladness. God as mind is never fatigued, never depleted, never exhausted, never depressed. Students of this science are not average. They're not average people. I think that's what happens when you begin to study metaphysics, is you lift yourself out of the law of average. Why? Because you become self-directive instead of letting the world direct you. We were advised, and you will hear me quote this all the time, as all other New Thought ministers do, and that is that the truth of you that knows what to do and how to do it is greater than anything you're moving through. Now, New Thought students they are not content in the old order of thought. They would be content in the old order of thought, which approves fatigue, it approves low energy levels, it approves punishment ideas. They would constantly talk about their depletion and look upon it as being virtuous. Good. They are taught that they are here to suffer so they don't have to in the next experience. Well, I've got news for you. Now is the only thing we're ever going to know anything about. And what your experience is what you're giving to the now you're in. And if you don't what showed up yesterday, stop giving to now what you gave yesterday. Give something new, and something new shows up. You see, my friends, to average people, fatigue and doubt and depression and all this stuff is, I guess you could call it is based on their philosophy, is part of their social necessity. It is a sign of success if we begin to change our thinking and observe the change happening in our world. You see, the challenge we have is to understand that we want to let go of anything that thrives on sympathy. People who do this expect praise for being tired. They expect praise for being overworked. They expect praise for being unhappy. Now, there is nothing, my dear friends, spiritual in that kind of thinking. There's nothing spiritual in bad mental habits, which endangers your happiness. There isn't a phase of any of the great world scriptures which says that God was ever tired, that God was ever exhausted. Even when God was described as a man, he didn't become exhausted as most men do. Now, the great thinkers of all religions and the great metaphysical thinkers have understood very clearly that we are the active consciousness of divine being. We are total energy when we know that we are total energy. I am spirit becoming form. I am spirit having a human experience. This is the awareness of the metaphysical mind. You see, God created us as energetic expressions of the totality of life. Limited energy, confusion, doubt, fear, all of this stuff is never divinely ordered. It's when we get locked into the world and start thinking like the world thinks, which has to be yesterday thinking. Now, we know that our real birth is in divine order. Dr. Holmes said once, it's not our purpose in religious science to be born again. It's our purpose to be born again and again and again and again and again and again. Every day is new. Every day is waiting to see what you're going to give to it, because what you give to it multiplies and returns to you. Limitation is a word without any spiritual origin. As spiritual beings, we know it is not. It's not spiritual. We accept ourselves as the energy releasing and divinely ordained, capable visibility of all that the creative process is. We are the divine incarnation. It's good to know that as we move through this challenge. We are the divine incarnation indwelling our consciousness, indwelling your consciousness right now. Is all strength, all energy, and all mind. Each of us can say, and say it with me, I am the unconditional life which can never be depleted. I am energy. I am spirit. I am truth. That's the truth of you, my friends. Know it. Let it be your way. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Celebrate those you have in your heart who have passed. Celebrate the wonderful people moving through this experience and giving so much of their love, time, energy, and talent to help make this country and our world better. God in every doctor and nurse greets every God experience in every patient. And God in me greets the God in you. Namaste. Let it be your way. And now, my friends, in honor of this morning and the celebration, if you don't know, our building where we hold our Sunday service. So we're having the video Wednesday and Sunday, and I am hearing from people all over the world, and I want to say hello, I love you, thank you so much for watching this, and it is my loving pleasure to do this, to teach these lessons every Wednesday and Sunday, and to know you're hearing it, and it's making anything and everything, or letting anything and everything that needs to change for the better change for you, because I am talking to myself and you from the principle of truth. And so what I want to share is that even though we're not in our building having our services with all the people around us, with our wonderful music and friends, we do have ongoing expenses, and we honor each and every one of you. I thank you all from my heart for your donations, for your love offerings, and my wonderful Katrina, my assistant, will put up information on how you can get a donation to us, and I want you to know how much we celebrate it and need it, and honor your ability to share with us with love. Know it returns to you, and know that we thank you dearly for it. And now let's have a closing treatment. Someone asks if we treat today, could we treat to look beyond what is in front of us? Certainly we can. So let's know there is one life, it's God. As I speak my word now in first person, join with me in consciousness and know right now that the infinite mind that is God is the creator of all things. In truth, it sees beyond all appearance. This is the endless all. The endless all. This is the endless all of all things that fulfills its own creative process, and we direct it as our life force. The infinite mind of God knows the creation as a perfect potential, and that everywhere at once, this power creates, fulfills. It creates and fulfills perfectly. And it does so as me right now. As everyone listening right now, as all of our members, all of our friends, all of the New Thought movement, unity, divine science, religious science, all of the members that are hanging on to the truth of being and affirming it in this time when we are challenged by this virus experience. The challenge is met. So this morning I look at myself. I look at myself with the eyes of God, and with the eyes of God, with the eyes of God, I take this opportunity to see things in a new way with the eyes of God. I take the highest view with the eyes of God. I see all people I see all conditions. All conditions in my experience as God condition. I look beyond the things as they appear to be. And know that the truth of my being is able to see. There's nothing to heal, there's only an idea to change, and I change it now. I let myself operate in such a way that I realized this morning, in celebration of Memorial Day and all it represents in my heart and mind, in the world's heart and mind, I celebrate as a center of God in my experience called life. I know it liberates me. I liberate myself. I liberate myself from self-misleading. I liberate myself from any kind of negative attitude, negative expectancy, anything that makes myself an entirely positive person, anything that's stopping me from doing that now stops. And the positive comes forth. I experience it as my environment. Healthy mind, healthy body, healthy world is my way. For myself, for my family, my children, my grandchildren, great-grandchildren. If any of you listening this morning have experienced loss of loved one, know that loving hands meet them now in their new experience. They are always in your heart and mine. The eyes of God look beyond appearance to create great goodness. To create great goodness and do the wonderful, the beautiful, the healthy, the happy. Dr. Holmes said life is a song worth singing. Sing it. I choose to sing it today. And I choose to hear you singing with me. We are always triumphant in the mind of God. And it is wonderful. And you are wonderful. Wonder-filled. Wonder-filled. That's the truth of you and me, and I give thanks that I know this and know I know it. And I affirm, and so it is, and was and shall be in the now of forever. Namaste.